Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Vixen Voice. Today, I'm so excited because I have my new friend, Brittani Murray, here with me. And Brittany is the founder of Maid for Muddy Paws. What a fun name, right? We're going to totally get into that story. So, first of all, Brittany, welcome. So glad to have you with me this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Me too. And I'm just going to share with the audience because I like everyone to know that life isn't always perfect. Brittany and I just spent like 20, 30 minutes making sure we could go live because, as you can tell, I'm on location at the Vixen Mastermind if you're watching this on YouTube. And we both had technical difficulties. So, this is the reality of recording mini shows, right? And being business
Absolutely.
owners. Wouldn't you agree, Brittany? There's always problems to solve, right?
Absolutely. Every day's a new
Cool.
day.
Yeah. And so we're going to dig into Brittany's story today. I'm going to share with you why I wanted to have her on the show and why I think y'all are going to really love our conversation today. So, my client and friend Bexwood told me, hey, I have this friend, Brittani Murray. She's like doing things, like she's flying around the country, organizing people's house. She has like a thriving business, here in Magnolia, Texas. And so, anyway, we got connected and we had a lot of things going on. So now we're finally getting together to go live with y'all. But what I'll share is, Brittany's fun. She has a zest for life and she runs a freaking phenomenal business. So I'm so excited to really dig into her business today, her strategy behind it, and how she's built the business. Because I know a lot of you listening really want to do what Brittany did. She left her career as a dental hygienist to run her business. And, we were chatting before going on, and like she said, is it's not like you wake up one day and you're a business owner. So we're really going to kind of break down this process for you today. And I hope, number one, we inspire you to take steps to start a business or grow your business or have a side hustle. And number two, you see that it's not always perfect. And that's part of the journey, right? And that's what builds character and makes you a good business owner. So, Brittany, again, super excited to have you. I know we've had a little
Thanks.
panicky 20 to 30 minutes. So, hopefully, we can
Oh
just
my
have fun
gosh.
chatting.
It's fine. It's normal, especially in my world. My goats are running loose. It's a mess, but that's what makes it so fabulous.
I love it. I love it that you're talking about goats because you shared with me the name of your business, Made for Muddy Paws, came because you wanted to combine your love of animals with your love of cleaning. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I want to thank Bex for connecting us. So thanks, Bex. I
Yes.
really appreciate it. She's been a client and lover, and she's also incredible and
Yes.
successful. So thank you, Bex. And yeah, I mean, the love for animals has always been there. When I get bored, I'll end up picking up a stray dog. I've been in foster. I've had several foster fails, and then several get adopted, and especially during that process, finding someone to clean my house was difficult. Finding someone to
Yeah.
trust, finding someone that would clean the way that I would clean, because typically my schedule was Monday through Thursday. I'd work dental hygiene, and Fridays I would deep clean my house every week. And I think a lot of dental hygienists can attest to we spend Fridays cleaning our own place, and we love most of us love to clean and have that niche. But I got tired of that, and I was like, I just would love some help at this point, especially with all of the dogs and living on property and the dust and everything. And so it just wasn't it seemed impossible to find someone who would wash their dog bowls and do my dog's dishes and move the dog kennels and maybe let the dogs out to potty because I was at work all day. And
Wow.
I just was like, I was so unhappy in my career, and it was just so repetitive. I lost the drive, and I'm like, what else am I good at? And cleaning has always been my thing. And that's why my parents were like, go be a dental hygienist, clean teeth, because you can't be a maid your whole life. You have to go to school. You have to get a degree and have that kind of career. And I did that and then went right back to what I love. And the pets have been the catalyst and our niche really is what we've, kind of, you know, I guess capitalized on at this point.
Yeah, and people love their pets, so and they love a clean house. So what a better thing to combine, right? So
Exactly.
I love one thing you pointed out because I see this a lot in women of our generation. Like, I know I went to law school because my parents are like, you need a degree, right? And then I became a lawyer because I'm like, well, if they put all this crap in my head, I'm going to go use it, right? And it was the easiest way to make a lot of money out of school. And, I wanted by 3 years of law school, all my other friends had been out making money for 3 years, and I was very poor in law school. I didn't really have any money to do anything fun. So, I was driven by the voice of my parents in my head, plus like this desire to make money and change that situation. And I think a lot of times we do start out in something that maybe eventually is not ideal for us. And I think, I like to say our parents came from the status generation where they were probably the first generation to make money. They wanted good things for us. And it was like, go to school, get a degree, go work for a big company or a big law firm, and like you'll be good. And so I love that you discovered, okay, this isn't really what I want to do. Because same thing happened with me in law, and I hear it from so many other women. So do you feel if left to your own devices, you would have still gone to school, started doing dental hygiene, et cetera? Or what path do you think you would have chosen for yourself?
Oh my gosh. I go back and forth because I feel
Yeah.
like I should have been an attorney at this point.
Well,
And, but at the same time, I think that's a fabulous career, but yeah, I mean, I ultimately get to do what I love. So I feel like it's the universe. It brings you where you got to go. And this is
yeah.
just where I need to be. And, it's just evolved so naturally and organically that I know it's just where I'm supposed to be. So yeah, I think if I had to do it all over again, I mean, mind you, I went to dental hygiene school. I was 18, 19 years old. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't know what I wanted to do. But the cleaning part felt right because it was a
Hmm.
professional job, and at least that's what I thought. And I'll be treated professionally, and then I soon realized that dentists are not CEOs. They don't go to medical or dental school
Yes.
to be business owners. And then you realize that very quickly when you start working for them that, oh my gosh, this is so unorganized. And it's just, I started realizing that I think I'm an entrepreneur instead of just, working the 8 to 5.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point. A lot of professionals who end up owning their own business, like they don't understand there's a difference in being really good at what you do and managing a business. Because I remember, I think I was like 2008, I started financial planning, and about 2012, I had a business coach come in and like a strategic partner who's like, hey, we're going to teach you how to run a business A to Z, right? Like, it's great that you're an amazing financial advisor and your clients love you, but like, you need to know how to run a business or you can't grow your team and scale.
Of
And I
course.
was really grateful for that. So, like, what steps did you go ahead? I think you have a comment, but I'd be curious, like, what steps you took on your own, because I kind of had outside influence. And I think a lot of professionals don't realize this difference in being a business owner and being good at what you do.
Well, I think for the most part, there are some dentists that have completely changed, the game, and they've
Yeah.
taken, I honestly want to be turned loose in the dental field now and just like let me run the place because, it really could be something. But, those that are not CEOs and business owners and that don't want to do the payroll and the bookkeeping and the hiring and the firing and all of the ins and outs that come with it, they hire someone else to do it for them. And usually that
Yep.
person may or may not be qualified to run, a group of women, especially. So, I learned so much. And there was a long period of where I was like, God, why in the world did I just waste this time going to school to
Yeah.
clean teeth when I'm not even going to use it? And I'm not going to do it. And I don't like it. And boy, I mean, he always has a plan because
Yep.
I didn't know back then, and I was frustrated and I hated my job and I would cry and I was so mistreated in so many different circumstances that I just started temping and working at this office and then that office and this office so that I didn't have to, learn the drama of each space. But with that, I learned how to manage people and how to treat people. And I could never understand why dentists treated us like we were disposable, like they could just replace us tomorrow. And there was just this just overwhelming feeling of not being valued. And I think with Maid for Muddy Paws, it's a very high turnover industry, housekeeping. But at the end of the day, our goal is that when we've had several girls leave and come back. And I think at the end of the day, I've paid electrical bills. I've co-signed on vehicles for employees before.
Wow.
Don't recommend that, but it worked out. I've paid off loans when they've had an incredible high interest rate that they were never going to be able to pay off on their own. They are valued because without them, we wouldn't have a business. So, I learned that, and that is an incredible thing to learn and to take. And then also scheduling, smart scheduling, and knowing that this time and this day, and we're going to build from there, from the in out, because you don't just have clients knocking on your door saying, and now we might, but that's taken years. And, before it was, okay, how do I work part-time as a hygienist, build my business, market, do email reminders and text reminders and keep my books straight. And I got audited right when I first started my business. It was horrible.
Oh, wow.
I had to pay like an $11,000 fine for not charging people sales tax. And so you don't realize, but when you throw yourself into it, that's the best way. And I actually just had a conversation with someone this weekend who, she's in cosmetology. And I'm like, why are you working for someone else? You could be doing this yourself and getting 100% of, the return. And she's like, she started listing all the reasons. And I'm like, you can't think that way, because if someone would have told me that I had 30 staff members, 5 vehicles, insurance, and an office, and supplies, and we were spending $20,000 a year on Swiffers at one point, I don't think I would have done it.
Yeah.
So I told her, I was like, you got to quit looking that way and looking at it that way, and just think of, is this what I want? Do I want the freedom, and do I want the return? And maybe you don't. And those people make excellent employees, especially if they love what they do. So yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from working as a hygienist.
Yeah, I agree. I feel, at one point I taught English in Italy. Long story, but I was married to an Italian, and my law degree is not recognized in Europe, right? So I was not employable because I would apply to be a legal assistant or even make copies. I was trying to get any job at a law firm, and they'd be like, no, you're overqualified. Okay, but I can't be a lawyer because you don't take my license. So it was really crazy. I ended up teaching English for 12 euros an hour. I was used to making 6 figures, and it was crazy. But when you have a personality like us, you have to do something.
You have to do something.
I had to do something. And I am so grateful for that time teaching English, because I taught executives and I taught in professional settings. And, God bless teachers, because listening for 8 hours a day is exhausting. I learned.
Are the kids better in Europe than here, or is it still?
No, I was teaching adults, and they're probably
adults.
worse than kids. Yeah, but it's that active listening, right? No one tells you that it's a skill set, but I developed that during that time, getting paid 12 euros an hour. Maybe I made 14. I can't remember. And then I went on to become a financial advisor, and all my clients are like, wow, no one's ever listened to me the way you listen. And now I interview people and I coach for a living. So that listening skill and understanding that led to all of this. So I can very much appreciate you had to go through what you did being an employee so that it made you a better employer, right? And Go for it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it's just funny that you say that because, back to what I was saying about, what, God, why am I a hygienist? Like I only worked for about 4.5 years, really full time.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I have a happy place, and that's in the San Juan Islands, off of
Oh,
the
I love
coast
it.
of Washington and near Canada. And I go there so much that I'm like, I need a job when I'm here. Like, what am I
Yeah.
going to do? Because I go there to vacation. I love orca whales. I'm a dorka. It's a whole thing.
I love it.
And and when I went there, I was like, okay. So I posted. I was like, hey, look, I own a successful housekeeping business in Texas. I'm going to be here for this long. Anybody want any housekeepers?
Yeah.
And the pay rate was so low there that I was like, yeah, that's not worth it because, I mean, I'm not going to be able to pay. I want to pay for the trip. I want to, work. And it's funny because you
Right.
said that. Well, I got my license, my dental hygiene license in Washington, and I'm leaving on Tuesday to go work out there for a few weeks, for a dentist who's super ecstatic to have me because it's an island. He's like, our staff would love a day off. Like, if you could come and work for them and let them have a few days off, like, we don't have anyone to cover for them. And the pay is
That's cool.
incredible. It's excellent. It's actually really good. And I get to go to my happy place and work, but now I'm kind of like, I'm crazy because I can't just go and just relax. I have to be doing something.
So I'm going to tell you a funny story. Bex and I went to Laguna Beach, California, because I coach a group of spiritual healers that are in my classes with me, and many of
Nice.
them like have jobs. This their side hustle. They don't have a ton of money, and so Bex very graciously, I was like, if I give you a free trip to California, will you take pictures of my clients for me? And so like we kind of did an exchange, and so anyway, we like, and I have tons of Amex points, so I got us like a room at the Montage overlooking the ocean. And we're both like Friday morning, wake up in bed, drinking coffee and working. And we're like happy as larks with a view
Yep.
of the ocean. And I mean, then we went to lunch and had margaritas and we had fun and we went to art galleries. But like, it just kind of is who you are if you have your own business. Like, you're doing what you love. So, work isn't terrible. And it's the freedom to like do it wherever you want and whenever you want and serve people. So I love that. Actually,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm here in Sedona right now. If you're watching, you can see
It
behind me.
looks
So
beautiful. Yeah, it looks
I know.
beautiful.
I hate that you couldn't join us. Next time I want you at the retreat because
I know I
actually
told you I
Bex
was
and
leaving
Lynn
and
are
I'm like,
here.
there's no way that I could pull that off with all of my farm animals, especially them running wild.
Yeah.
Like it's a mess. And like I have things here at home and I've got, two businesses to run too. And they're like, where are you going? You're going to clean teeth? I thought you don't do that anymore. I'm like, yeah, I do. I work, they know I work here and there for people here. My friends, I'll fill in for them, but they're like, okay, we'll have a good time. And I'm like, don't call me unless there's an emergency.
Yes. Okay, so in my financial planning firm, I used to be like, okay, when I'm gone, don't call me unless the building burned down. And actually,
Yep.
if it burns down, there's nothing I can do. So y'all do your best to take care of it.
Definitely don't call me first.
Right, right. Make sure everyone's safe and let's go. Awesome. I love this. So let's back up and talk about the beginning of your business. So it sounds to me like you were still doing dental hygiene and then you started really your current business as a side gig. Is that true? And was it just you at first or did you have anyone working with you at the beginning?
No, it was just me and my grandma. Um, she passed away in
Mm.
2015, but she, growing up, if I'd come visit her, she'd call it the sweeper, the vacuum. I'm gonna go get the sweeper. And I'm like, Grandma, I'm here to like visit, not clean. But everyone always assumed that, I was the maid. I was, she would always say, Brittany, you're such a good cleaner. You're such a good cleaner. And so in later in life, they lived a few miles from me, and they had a housekeeping company that they hired because they were elderly, and she would just complain about them all the time. And she's like, "You just do
Mm.
it." She's like, "They're just they don't clean like you do, Brittany." And I'm like, "Well, how much are you paying them?" And she told me, and that's literally when it clicked because they had cobwebs everywhere. These maids did
Oh
not
my
clean
gosh.
from eye level above. They cleaned everything eye level to like the floors, if you even give them credit for that. But really, I mean, she was right. They didn't do a good job. I wouldn't have hired them. And when she told me what she was paying back in, then I was just shocked. And I was like, okay, so I could clean. And I'm telling you, my mindset was, if I clean this many houses a day, I make X amount of money,
Yeah.
and then I don't have to work dental hygiene full time. I still needed that paycheck coming from dental hygiene because it was excellent money. But it was a way for me to just break it up to where I could go down to part time. And I'm thinking maybe I'll be happy if I'm only working a couple days a week as a hygienist and then I'm cleaning houses, because I knew that it was going to be hard work. Um, and then I started cleaning her house. I started cleaning for a neighbor here in the neighborhood who we still clean for. And
Nice.
she's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm going to tell you about my sister, and I'm going to tell you. And then just over time, it did not happen overnight, but it happened so organically that I could manage it properly and grow with, the bad. If I made a bad decision, I'd learn from it and change it before, outreach. If I did those things now, it would be detrimental. And so it really was God's plan, because it allowed me to build as a person, allowed me to build as a business owner, and offer the service that we do now. It's been through mistakes. And so I started just cleaning more and more and more. And then I backed off a day. I went down to 2 days a week. I was 3 days a week, and I went down to two. Then I went down to, finally, my ex-husband, who was not supportive of it whatsoever. He was just like, give it 6 more months at your job, just wait. And the dentist I was working for at the time said, isn't this beneath you? Isn't cleaning toilets beneath you? Like, you're better than that.
Oh my gosh.
Literally the day after my ex-husband and I had that conversation, and I was just infuriated. I was like, this is, because you're treated like the help. And I feel like I was just so much more than that. I brought value and a professional side to this industry. And when that happened, I walked out. I quit. I walked out,
I
and
love it.
I packed up my room, and I was like, it's time. If these people aren't going to value me anyway, and then now they're going to discredit. Ultimately, he just didn't want me to leave. Like, he wanted me there, I think. And so he was just discrediting it so that I would feel like I was stuck there. And don't tell me no, that's for sure. Because you tell me no, and I'll find a way to at least do it once, and then be like, I told you this could happen. And so, I just, from then on out, I had a childhood friend work for me for a year. Her and we used to clean my mom's hair salon when we were kids together. I was like, you're never going to do this, Jen. Like, it's so much. And she's like, yes, I will. Like, I'll totally do it. I need a job. And like, I love working with you and blah, blah, blah. And, she's such like a Valley girl, like hot, super, gorgeous blonde. I'm like, you're not going to, this is dirty, dirty work like this, and she worked for me for like a year, maybe a little bit longer. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, like, I think I could grow this, because if she wants to do it, I know there's going to be other people that want to do it. And then came the, okay, how do we do this? So
Yeah. Well, and I love, because when you go back to the beginning, because, in coaching and consulting, female business owners, a lot of times, and this is not across the board, but a lot of times numbers like get kind of freak them out, right? And I get it, because the numbers, the KPIs, the data, that's the masculine part of running the business. Like, you have to learn how to know that and then use your feminine intuition to solve problems. That's at least the balance I found between the two, so I don't go so masculine. But like, if we go back to your very beginning, where you said, if I cleaned X number of houses a day, I'm going to make X number. You were just figuring out your capacity and reverse engineering your numbers, right? So like, it starts that simple. And then as you add complexity, I'm imagining you hired your friend because you were at max capacity and people were still asking you to clean, right? So kind of walk us through maybe what happened and how you ended up like building the business and organizing from there. Or maybe speak to numbers and capacity.
Well, it's funny because I can't think that way. If I start thinking about numbers, and it's very deterring. It's one of those things that I kind of just go with my gut, and it doesn't work for everyone. And it is the masculine, way of doing things, because a lot of it
Yeah.
and it keeps a lot of people from doing businesses, especially like in the restaurant industry. If
Agree.
you own a restaurant and it's about the numbers, you're probably not going to do it. And so it just depends on the type of person. And
Hmm.
really from the beginning, yeah, my ex was like, I need you to pay me on the 1st and 15th. Like we did not have, we didn't know that it was going to turn into this, honestly. And it was just kind of one of those things where I just wanted to be happy in my
Hmm.
work. And um it just, yeah, the demand is there, and then also, there's no licensure for this. So how do
Hmm.
you stand out? How do you compete? How do you, especially when we're on the border, we're here, and the amount of illegal activity cleaning homes is insane.
Hmm.
Like, especially getting audited right out the gate. I was audited, my first or second year of owning this business. As soon as I became profitable, they're
Yeah.
like, oh, and it was so, that was actually, it set me back a few steps, because I had to really think about the numbers, and I had to think about, okay, like I need to get my stuff in order and
Hmm.
realize, I need a bookkeeper. I need, QuickBooks. I
Hmm.
need to take care of these financial things, because the government's just waiting for them to dip their hand in your pocket at the end of the day. And that's fine as long as you're organized.
Yeah.
And so, that's when I really started thinking about the numbers, because, going through the audit and realizing that, oh my gosh, like, how, and standing out and keeping up with the demand and keeping up with, I mean, you see it every day. Just random people are like, oh, I can come clean tomorrow. And so creating the core values that we have, and
Hmm.
making sure that the employees and the staff that we hire are background checked, and all of that's money. It takes money to pay for the background checks, to do the hiring. I mean, we spend anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month just on our staff, like hiring and keeping
Yeah.
us employed. We went through 67 people last year. So
Hmm.
it's a lot. So you have to think about the numbers, and it takes a special person. So even though we're not licensed, it's you got to be organized, because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's hard to be the one cleaning, to be the one man show, and then grow
Yeah.
when you have something to offer. So that's when we really started talking about the numbers. And um, we've been through a hurricane, we've been through a couple really crazy hard freezes, we've been through COVID.
Hmm.
We've been through, really bad storms and just localized flooding, but like I mean, Harvey really set us back. And
Hmm.
there's been so many trials and tribulations that at this point I'm like, okay, what's next? Because at the end of the day, we take care of our clients, and even if they leave for a little bit, our goal is always that they think about us, when if they're like, hey, look, I can't afford this anymore, I got to take a break, that they're at least going, man, that was really nice when Made for Muddy Paws came. And even if they can't use this anymore, or if they switch and they use another company, they're like, oh, Made for Muddy Paws was better. Like, that's
Hmm.
our goal. So and as far as the numbers go, it's just one of those things that has evolved over time and has made us, be a 7-figure business now.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I like, talking about hiring bookkeepers, et cetera. Like I have a client who's a fractional CFO, and that's so cool that like a small business like you or I could actually have a part-time CFO, right? Because that stuff is actually overwhelming. And thank you for being open and vulnerable about that, and also about your audit, because I think the numbers are ridiculous. I mean, I know you're almost to 10 years of business, and I think it's like only 33% of businesses that make it 10 years. So number
Wow.
one, congratulations. And
Thank
it's something
you.
like 50% that go under within the first 4 years. And I think it's, how easy would it have been for you after you went through that audit to be like, oh my gosh, this is too much trouble. I don't want to do this. But instead, you used it as a learning opportunity. And I think it's important to be open about these challenges that we all face at the beginning of businesses, so that, anyone listening who goes into it says, well, you know what? This is part of business. I remember a mastermind I was in for 6 years in financial advisory, And one of my mentors said, you don't have, you know, you've been successful when you have a line item for legal on your budget. And I was like, oh my gosh, but it's so true, right? Like
Yep.
challenges come up and you have to be, and you learn from them. You're not prepared the first time often, and you have to adapt and then make sure you're prepared going forward or that you can overcome that.
It's just
So,
like Instagram. They're changing their algorithms and changing every day. Things
yes.
change. Clients find new things. The latest thing that we're fighting right now is people are disputing credit card charges. They're having their houses cleaned and
Wow.
then they're disputing it and saying it never happened. And the credit card companies are automatically giving them refunds. And that's a huge issue for a business, especially when you've already done the work. And then
Hmm.
now you have to pay a legal team to handle that. And
Hmm.
you know, it's when you are servicing over 500 homes a month, can you imagine? I mean, it's a lot. And at the end of the day, you know, we handle it, but it's something that, yeah, you don't, it's new. It's like a new thing. And at least for
Hmm.
us, and all these new challenges, I think it was your questionnaire that made, oh no, it was a magazine interview that I did recently. They asked me, you know, is it easy? And I just laughed. I was like, absolutely not. Every day it's a
No.
challenge, but it's like I said before, I don't like being told no.
Yeah.
And I'm a fair, honest person. So it makes it, you know, a challenge for me to when people tell me no to make it right.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I was laughing when you said that earlier because that's like one of the biggest motivators for me. If somebody's like, "Oh, this can't be done," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, it is. We're gonna figure out a way."
We're women.
Um,
Yeah, I can.
I love it. But you're right because I always say there's never a freaking boring day, right? Like people have to understand
Absolutely.
there's never a boring day, which I think if you're built that way, you love that, but that's I'm sure why you need to go to your happy place sometimes because my happy place is
Yes.
Utila, Honduras, where I have property and like
Oh,
I just run
nice.
around barefoot, like no makeup, hair thrown up. And, you know, it's amazing a week. Like grounding is real. A week of being in the ocean and on the sand, like you're just like glowing. It's so crazy what it
Absolutely.
does for your health.
I love being by the water and I love orca whales.
I
So if
love
I
it.
can see and humpbacks, there's humpbacks there too. And so yeah, it's my happy place and it does ground me and it brings me back to, you know, remembering like why I do what I do and
Yeah.
now the amount of people that I employ that they need that income too. It's not just about me
Hmm.
anymore. It's about the team.
Yeah, and this is what I try to work with most of my clients and I talk a lot about. This is why as an entrepreneur, you have to practice self-love, self-forgiveness and self-care because you are the foundation that all of this lies on. And when you have a team, I mean, you're responsible for their lifestyle as well as yours, right? And so if you're not taking care of yourselves, which society has kind of gotten us women to think it's selfish to take care of ourselves, and we have to unlearn
Right.
that, you know, then you're not taking care of your team. And actually, that takes me back to something else you said, like when you're, you know, and I don't want to begrudge your ex boss, but because I think he was put into your life to motivate you to move forward. But to say cleaning toilets is demeaning for you, well, what about all the women who stay at home and that's their job? And that's like the hardest freaking job in the world, in my opinion, to be a stay at home mom. Like I would fail miserably. I would not be able to do it. And, you know, I mean, that comment in general is so demeaning to women overall. And it's not just women today that do it, but you know, this is part of loving your house, taking care of your home. Like it's a very valuable service. And it's so crazy that that's the opinion. And I know one of your passions is kind of, you know, debunking the taboo around housekeeping. So what have you all kind of done in your area or what measures have you taken to overcome the stereotype?
Oh my gosh, there's such a stereotype in housekeeping and
Hmm.
you know, it's going to take a lot more than just me to change that,
Yeah.
but I think that we're inching in our community, especially when you know with our reputation of
Hmm.
you know these are the type of people that they hire. I mean, we hire professionals. They have to pass a background check. They have to
Hmm.
have a social security card. They have to have a driver's license because at the end of the day, it's, as a lawyer, the risk for that anyway. But also we're making your kids' beds. Like
Yeah.
we're letting your dogs out. We're in your sacred space. So
Hmm.
you don't just want any, person in your home. I mean, I sage my house. I don't like the bad energy, and we want our staff to feel supported. We want them to be happy. We want them to go into our clients' houses and I always say it's the Lord's work, using a scrub brush and it's
Hmm.
scrubbing the floors, and it's labor intensive. And
Yeah.
so we want them to to love their job and to feel like this isn't just a stepping stone. And I've got girls that have been with me for years. Haley, she runs my office now with Tina. Her and Tina are incredible. I've known Tina my whole life. She's my mom's best friend. She came to work with me a couple years ago. But Haley, I mean, she's been with me practically since, I think she was like the next person I hired after my friend Jen and I, started
Wow.
working together. And now she's running my office. She's worked as a housekeeper, she's worked as a quality manager. She's literally ranked herself up the ladder and now is an incredible asset. And she knows
Hmm.
the ins and outs of every little part of what we do. And she's able to add that support to the housekeepers. They respect her because she's done it and she could do it again and run circles around them. So
Yeah.
so we all support each other, but it's also just who we hire, because if you hire the wrong person, send them into someone's home, that discredits your reputation. So
Yes.
then people start to wonder, are they really who they say they are? I can't tell you how many people market that they are running background checks on people and they actually don't. And
Wow.
they tell people that they do and they actually don't, just to say, hey, we do it. And we drug test, we do all these things to make sure that the girls and the guys are um they're they're top notch. And so that's part of
Hmm.
changing the taboo of the industry, because usually it's anyone can do it. It's quick, fast cash. A lot of times the language barrier is an issue.
Hmm.
And it's one of those things where if I can't do anything else, well, I can just go clean a house. And it's an art. It is an art.
Hmm.
And I'm telling you right now, it does not matter the color of your skin or where you're from. If you don't know how to clean, you don't know how to clean. And I'm telling you, I've gone through enough and I've met enough people and I've trained enough people to know that it doesn't matter if you're male, female, young, old, it doesn't matter. You either have that attention to detail and
Yep.
that personality where you want to prefer to work by yourself and just
Hmm.
see the before and after and that change happen. It takes a certain type of personality and not the person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we've learned that, and that's allowed us to really open our hiring process too. Like we're not just focused on only hiring a certain um you know race or gender or ethnicity, where we're really open to hire anyone. They have to just pass our test. As far as we do working interviews, I learned that from dental
Yeah.
hygiene. So they
Yeah.
come and they work with us for a few hours and we know pretty quickly if they have that gift or not. And that's what makes us different, and that's what I think is going to help keep these people here long term, is that they have a
Hmm.
gift and they're able to express that by working here and not think of it as just like a job at a fast food restaurant, that,
Yep.
that's just for now and not forever.
Yeah. No, I love this idea of the working interview because even a friend of mine owns the largest virtual assistant company in the UK. And she spoke to my mastermind about like, how do you decide it's time to hire? How do you find the right person and train them? And she's very big on during the interview process giving them a research project or something to see if they can think for themselves or if they just send you a bunch of links, right? So if it's like, hey, plan my trip to Sedona, do they come back saying, well, you have this option or this option and here's what's best? Or do they just send you a bunch of Google links and say, here's what I found? And so I hope for people listening, anytime you're hiring, if you think, how can I work a test into this interview process so I can really see the people? I know in my financial practice, if someone was working the front desk, we called them director of first impressions. Our third interview would be at a restaurant because I wanted to meet them out in the wild and see how they treated everyone, how they held themselves,
Out in the
because that
wild.
was like the first like voice and face that people interacted with when they came into my business. And so, am I putting someone up there who has the social know-how to present us well, and to take care of our clients? So I love that concept of the working interview. In fact, here at the mastermind, I think I'm going to challenge the women when they're hiring to think how they work that into their process. I will give you full
Absolutely.
credit, Brittany. Don't
Well,
worry.
that's how they did it in in the dental world. So, I
Yeah.
have to give a credit to them too, because they even had me do like a working interview type situation in San Juan. They interviewed me here a few times, asked me what I would do in certain situations. And then this is kind of a trial run going there for these
Hmm.
few weeks. That's what they're doing. They're doing a working interview that way. If, it works out, then they're like, you can literally call us when you're here and come work. And I'm like, how amazing and incredible would that be? So,
That's so
so yeah,
cool.
it definitely, I have to give credit to the dental world because I kind of hijacked
Yeah.
that from them, but I do know the value in that.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the point. You learn from watching what successful businesses do or what works. And a lot of times people think they have to stay tunnel vision, like, oh, I'm in finance. I'm only going to conferences in finance. Well, I was a financial planner for 16 years. When I started going to conferences outside of my industry, my business like blew up because I wasn't just tunnel vision of, oh, here's what financial advisors do or retirement planners do, right? Like you can always learn from other people. So I do want to honor your time. I know we had a little bit of a hectic time. What I'd love to do is pivot a little because I know you've had your business for 9 years, and for a while it was, only the housekeeping service because in business, success becomes from doing one thing really well and then branching out. But you all have a number of other services that you do now. So can we kind of get into what those services are and like how it evolved or what maybe the timeline was for adding other services and what your strategy or thinking behind that is?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in 2020, I started a sister company, Passionate Organizing,
Hmm.
and that was definitely a God thing too. It was just something that I knew that I needed to start trying to discover. And what was so fascinating about that was that, in the years of housekeeping, we will show up to a house and that, and back in the day, I was doing walkthroughs for consults. I'd go see the house. Now, I mean, there's just so many. We do
Yeah.
probably 15 to 20 quotes a day. Like, there's no way that I could go to that many homes and provide quotes in person for people. So, but back in the
Hmm.
day, I would, and they would want a quote, and I would see the house, and they really needed an organizer. They needed someone to
Hmm.
come in and declutter. There was just, maybe some hoarding in some situations that, to me, I would express to them, this is a waste of your time to hire us to come clean. We need to get down to the root of why you're not able to get around your home and move the
Yep.
vacuum around. It's because there's so much stuff. And so um we just naturally started offering professional organizing services, and
I love it.
I've gone to some retreats and I've learned about that, and it's been such a great service to offer because most of our clients that we organize for here in the community end up being long-term housekeeping clients, because then we go in, we do the brunt work, we get the house situated
Hmm.
so that then the housekeepers can maintain it for them, and it's such
Hmm.
a wonderful way for both companies to support each other. So, it's like Passionate can help Made for Muddy Paws, and Made for Muddy Paws can help Passionate. And so the organizing has taken off. It's even turned into some interior design. We're starting to offer functional interior design, which, has been incredible. But another service for Made for Muddy Paws, on top of the organizing, is our laundry service. And the laundry service, once we got our office space, we were able to bring in, commercial washer and dryers to offer
Love
a
it.
24-hour wash, dry, and fold service. And this was good because, laundry, as we all know, takes hours. It takes so
Yeah.
much time, and it's a luxury. It is, but if usually our clients are people that are in between moves. They haven't had, or their washer and dryer go out. They don't want to go to the washateria, or they come back from a large family vacation and they've got 5 suitcases full of dirty clothes. Or it's just, hey, look, like I'm a busy mom and I don't have time. And it's just a way for us to be efficient because we can't sit in the home and wait for laundry to dry. We just can't. And so it's a way for us to come pick it up. And then Tina and Haley Tina is our laundry queen. That woman, she's like, I can fold clothes in my sleep. She is so incredible. And she's in charge of the laundry, but her and Haley, it's a way for a business person to be efficient, add services that not only help someone, but it's there, and they can be working on the computer, answering calls and doing things while things are drying and washing, and then we can manage it. The machines are sanitized. They're cleaned between each client. There's things that we do to keep the quality there. So laundry and organizing have been two of our biggest added services that have really just taken off, and also just added value to the business as well.
I love it. It's such a smart move on your part. And I just want to add one thing because you mentioned if maybe you're a busy mom and you don't have time. Maybe you're a mom that hates doing laundry. Like there
That
is
too.
nothing wrong with outsourcing something you don't enjoy so you have more quality time with your family, more time to take care of yourself, more time to give back. I mean, there's so many things you can do with this time. I'm a huge fan of time leveraging. And I remember one time I asked someone who was uber successful, I was like, well, what do you outsource? And he said, I outsource the things that aren't worth my hourly rate or I don't enjoy. So his one example was I outsource my lawn care because I don't like it. One of my advisors who was killing it had acres and loved cutting his own grass because it was therapeutic, right? So even though he could afford to outsource, chose not to. So I just want to open that conversation because for some reason people like to make comments when you employ other people to do things you don't enjoy. To me, that's a win-win situation. Everyone's doing what they enjoy. We're adding to the economy. I
Being a
don't see
mom is
anything
just
negative.
so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah.
And it's because of just the increase in everything. I mean,
Yeah.
groceries, gas, everything costs more now. So we're having to work longer, work harder. And when you have a large family and you've got multiple kids, it's stressful. And, the
Yeah.
husbands are working, and sometimes it's a stay-at-home dad, but then you for sure need to outsource the laundry because, but
I
no,
agree.
I'm kidding. But no, it's there for anyone, and
Yeah.
it's definitely a way for us to bring that in and help the community. It's also been a wonderful way for us to give back because it's, you have to think, you mentioned numbers before, and it's like, okay, we can afford to give this much per month. And so the
Oh, I
laundry
love that.
is a really great way for us to say, hey, drop it off. We'll do it for free. As we just had a client that was in the hospital, and he had been evicted from his home, and then he was in the hospital. It's just been one thing after the other. They're incredible people. And I said, look, I was like, on your way into town, drop it off. We did 4 bags of laundry, and then I'm bringing it to him today. And it's just a way for us to say, hey, look, it's on us. It's not a big deal. And it's our way to be able to just have something to really help people when they are in need. And I love that. I feel like that's just something that we have to do too as a business in our community, is just to help those that really are saying, hey, I
Yeah.
need it. I need it right now. I'm struggling.
I love that. And I wonder, do you promote gift cards? Because, a challenge is let's say when someone's grieving, because I went through some grieving training as a financial planner because we deal with that, right? Like spouses passing away, et cetera. And the challenge is everybody says, oh, what can I do to help you? Well, this person is in chaos. They're grieving, they're emotionally, they cannot answer that question. So, I love if I were closer to you, anyone I knew that was grieving or going through a hard time, time, I would give them a gift certificate for your laundry service. Like that is such like a great idea
Absolutely.
to be proactive and just show up in ways you can help, right? Instead of asking. So, yeah, I think that's beautiful. Well, unfortunately, we're almost out of time. I know you do have an offer for our listeners that are in your area. So let everybody know the area you service because we do have a lot of listeners in the Houston area and what services and the offer. And then I have a couple more questions and we'll hop.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If anyone listening, if you are in our community and you're needing any of our services, we're offering 10% off if you just mention Vixen. And then we can get your house clean, laundry, organizing. Just let us know. And I hope that we get people that reach out because that would be great. It's a perfect opportunity to start delegating.
I love it. And so how far do y'all go with your services? I know you're based in
Yeah.
Magnolia. What other areas do you service?
So our hub is Magnolia, to the Woodlands, Spring, and I know you're not familiar with these areas, maybe not, but
Oh, I
I
am. I
know.
moved from Houston to
Okay, good,
Nashville,
good, good.
but
Okay, because I'm
listeners
like I don't want
not.
this to be foreign to you.
Go for it.
So yeah, into the Woodlands, Spring, we're dabbing into Kingwood a little bit,
Love it.
Willis, Conroe, Montgomery, a little bit of Navasota, like Plantersville area, and then into Cypress actually. So
Oh,
it
wow.
loops all the way around, and we're kind of in the center. And
Yeah.
then we have staff that we hire in these locations to try to keep their mileage down, and so they kind of have their locations of where they're at, and it really helps us to be able to serve more people.
Yeah, so for our listeners in the area, they understand all that. No, I had a financial planning business. I was in the Woodlands, Katy, and Sugarland, so
Oh,
we kind
nice.
of were
Okay.
all around. I always wanted to open an office in Cyprus, but we were about to open it when COVID hit. And so, like, opening another, then we went to Zoom, and I hated because I always wanted an office in Cyprus. So
You're
I
like,
can
that's not
see
gonna
why
work.
you're servicing there. It's like booming. But anyway, I love that. So if you're listening and you're familiar with those areas, definitely check out Brittany and Maid for Muddy Paws. And thank you for offering that discount to our listeners. I love it. So, Brittany, as we wrap up, one question I love to ask is when do you feel like you're most in your feminine energy? Like, what are you doing when you feel your feminine essence flowing?
Right now, it's the functional interior design. We
Yeah.
just wrapped up a project in the Heights, and it started out they needed some more storage. So the question was, do you want to build the storage or do you want to buy the storage? And they're like, look, we don't have a budget. What do you want to do? And I was like, really? Like, okay, let's do this. And they
That's
have
fun.
it took a little bit, of back and forth, and then they ultimately now are just like, we trust you so much that we're actually moving her office space tomorrow, and I've selected the paint colors for the new office. We're installing a ladder for her loft, and doing some furniture and some decals and selecting some things for the bathroom. And we helped her select the floors, and she sent me the photo yesterday, and I'm like, that looks incredible. And really, when I get to see some of those things just happen and come to life,
Yeah,
and just in my
yeah.
head of what I vision and just it happen, it's so incredible, and it makes me feel really empowered because it's design, and it's something that I think is just it's a blessing, and it's just something that's mine. And Marissa, my business partner, I couldn't do it without her. She's the 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 tools department. She's the one
Yeah.
helping build the shelving and installing the shelving, and but the design is definitely more feminine, and I really have enjoyed every second of getting to do it. And it's been about our fifth or sixth pretty big project lately, and I can see how functional interior design is really starting to take off and helping people to store their items properly so they can keep a clean house and a tidy house. So
Yeah.
it all kind of goes hand in hand, and it's been really incredible.
I love that. Well, I'm going to call you because I decided this morning. I love the kitchen in this Airbnb we're in. And I'm like, I need to just build a house. Because when I had a house, I renovated everything, like every part of it.
Well,
And
and
I'm
I'll
like,
just say, if you're going to build a
yeah,
house, I cannot tell you how important it is to have, if it's not me, have someone consult you on at least, I'll come to your house, I'll take an inventory of what you have, and I'll look at what you have and
Yeah,
how you live. And then that way we can say, look, you need this many cabinets, this many drawers,
I
you've got an
agree.
air fryer that you need, these shelves need to be adjustable. Do you want to keep it in the pantry? Do you want to,
Yeah,
you have this many dresses, you have this many shoes. Okay, when we build the house and the closet, we need to make sure that these dimensions fit your things, because so many people build homes and the architect just, he does the numbers, the builder, the guy,
yeah,
he's putting up the walls, but they think that interior design is too expensive, and the consulting part is really all you need, is just virtual
yeah.
consulting, one a few times visiting the site, and some consulting. And so I'm here for it, April. I would love it. I
I
would be
agree.
honored.
I love it. I always have to reconfigure the closets because especially in my past career I wore dresses every day and I wore dresses like everywhere and no closet is retrofitted for like all
That
dresses.
many
So I was
dresses.
always having to reconfigure closets. So I totally get what you're saying. I love it. Good. You can come design for my shoe and bag collection. That's the most important part.
Absolutely.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, my last question for you is what color would your feminine essence be? Or what
I've
color
recently
is it?
heard that my aura is like a green blue
Ooh,
color,
nice.
which, I don't know if it's more green or more blue, but that makes me just think of the color of the water around San Juan. And I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe that's it. And so I have one of those auras where people like will literally walk up to me at the mall and just start talking to me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is so weird? And and I'll talk back because I love talking, but I'm like, this is so weird that
Me
people
too.
just come up to me, or on an airplane, they'll just start talking to me, or and so I'm like, I've got to figure out this aura color thing. And so I really think that I'm gonna look more into that because it's been coming up lately a few times, and I fully believe that you can have maybe some different color auras, and I think it can change too depending on some of the things that you go through in life. And so
Hmm.
when I was told that, it made me think of the water in San Juan. So I'm like, oh, hey, I dig that. I'm fine with that.
Oh my gosh. You have me wanting to go to San Juan now. I have not been to
Do
the
it.
San Juan Islands. So we were in Washington Skamania Lodge for one of our retreats, and it was just so beautiful. We did a waterfall tour and different things,
Oh,
but
so
yeah, I,
nice.
I want to check out the islands. Well, I know you have somewhere to go. So everyone listening, check out Brittany, check out Maid for Muddy Paws. And one thing I do want to mention is you do your organizing and functional design, of course, for the right price, really anywhere. Like you guys are willing to
Yes.
travel. So if
Yep.
you're
We just went to
listening,
Florida. Yep.
yep. So check them out. And as I always say, the world needs more love. How can you show up in love today? And maybe it's love for yourself, getting that beautifully organized closet so you're not frustrated every morning. So, Brittany, what's your final message that you'd love to share with our audience?
Treat your staff well. Treat your housekeeper well. We're all just trying to pay our bills and be happy with our work, and it's labor intensive, and that's changing. Things are going away from that, and so just honor those people that are there to help you make your life easier, and take care of them and respect them. And at the end of the day, communicate. It's all about communication.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. We will talk to you soon.
Bye.